Hello everyone, I'm Dakian. Welcome to my latest video about my miniatures painting. It is today, Monday, the 1st of May 2017. It's May Day, or International Workers' Day, or Labor Day if you live anywhere but the US, where they have it on some other strange date. And I'm celebrating it by working hard at painting. And so far it's still early in the morning when I'm uploading this, and I hope to get more work done during the day, which I'll show you next week. Anyway, enough preamble. What is this? Well, I've actually already finished some of the Blind Beggar miniatures I started prepping last week, namely these four, the Dark Clergy, which are just robed figures. You can barely see anything of them. I painted them in sort of blue robes, dark blue robes with purple shadows. The paint job on the Kickstarter page was just brown robes. I thought that was kind of boring, since you can. For the first two of these, you can't even see their faces. They're almost completely hidden. On this guy, you can see a little bit more of him. And he has a sash in a contrasting color. This guy, you can see all the tentacles in his face. I thought this guy was cool. This is the coolest one of them. And then we have this guy who's not actually part of the Dark Clergy. He's just a Deep One hybrid. Rather far gone. He's almost completely Deep One. He's just a bit more human in shape still. His physiology is more humanoid. Deep Ones that have gone all the way in transformation usually depicted as being less recognizably human in proportions. Anyway, I've also done more stuff of the stuff that was already on the way last week, and, well, let's cut to that. I've also painted up this batch of nasty looking monsters, and I've started out by showing you the Shoggoth here, front and center, with all its eyes and mouths gaping open. Hopefully it looks a bit disturbing. We have the worm grubs here. I painted them in slightly different shades to set them apart. Having three completely identical grubs would just look boring. They're supposed to be related, I think, somehow to this dude. Now, the Conqueror Worm, as it's called. This was a difficult paint job because most of it is pretty smooth and it has some rather shallow texture, and highlighting and shading that to make it look dramatic but still somehow realistic, not too stark, it's quite difficult. And I've left this clear green plastic, mostly clear. It's just had some transparent paint and some washes applied to it. And but I went with a sort of grayish pink with purple shadows, which I thought should look sort of gross and disturbing. I have some pustules up here. And finally, we have a selection of tentacles, which are, I tried to paint them like some sort of barnacles on the back, and like pinkish or purplish suckers here in the middle. They're all in basically the same kind of color scheme, you can see. Nice. And the last stuff I got done this week was this little batch of sanitarium patients, or something, I don't know. This lady, I painted her very different from the previous. Like I said, this is Ray from Hassle-Free, and I painted a copy of this model before, which I painted with blonde hair and you know, white skin and a red dress. This time I went with a darker hair and skin color and a light dress. The general idea here is to have a lot of basically whites, but tinged in different ways. So the dress is supposed to be a white with blue shadows, and the floor tiling here is white with green shadows. Now, I could have pushed the white more. I don't think the dress comes over as white. Actually, it's more a pale blue with some white highlights. But that's okay. Hopefully it's distinct enough from the floor, so it's not all just a pale blur. And this guy is more. He's in a straitjacket and a pair of like hospital pants. Again, pale colors, but different shades, and also not the same shades as the floor. This guy is the zombie-fied scientist, I think he's called. Also, white shirt with sort of, it's kind of blue, same bluish shades as she has on her dress, while the coat is more grayish brown shading. I gave him some red pants and a tie just to break up the monotony of all the paleness. And the red is the same as on this zombie girl. The blue of her shirt is the same as the blue of the previous dress, but she has a sort of pink purple skirt. It's a different color. And again, to break up all the light colors, I went with a dark, deep, like a red, sort of with black red shading for the jacket. And there's also, I don't know if you can see that there's supposed to be an open wound on this leg. That's why, but I painted over that with blood effects. Tamiya clears, red, and also some blood on this leg. And you can't really see her face, but you know, she's supposed to be a zombie. Yeah, but I'm reasonably happy with how those came out. So, what works do I have in progress?
The rest of the stuff I started prepping last week is now prepped. Here we have the Victorian Gentlemen, who have been based and primed, and just put a basic base coat on the bases and the weapons that are going to be the parts that are going to be metallic. And here we have the gas masked agents. Here, for example, is one of the female ones. Base primed and a base coat on the base. And there's some splashes of white paint here just to cover up stuff missing in the primer. And here's one of the male ones. So there's a total of 10 of these and these two. So 12 guys on the go for next week. Meaning I need to pick out some more stuff to prep. Let's see what we have in the collection.
So for next week, I think I've mentioned that the intention is to play Achtung Cthulhu, which is Call of Cthulhu in the Second World War. So I want to get started on actual Second World War minis, namely these. I'm going to start with these American infantry from Reaper, the Chronoscope line. We have the World War II GI infantry. I've shown you these. I've unboxed these not too many weeks ago. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 minis that are actual American infantry. Now, at the pace I'm painting right now, that's not 7 minis isn't going to take very long. So I need some side projects. So I'm also pulling out some stuff that I unboxed recently in a video, a recent purchase from WAP, which was this Western Girl, Dusty Page, and a couple of statuesque miniatures, a Popoli pack of some sort of Asian adventurers, I believe, and this female professor of some kind in a trench coat. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna start prepping all of this stuff. It should be primed, and based, and so forth by next week. And the box of novelties for this week, we find, what is it, some Frostgrave stuff. I backed the Kickstarter for this compilation, the Frostgrave Folio, which is mostly stuff they've put out previously in PDF, scenarios and the like. It contains The Hunt for the Golem, the Sellsword expansion with captains, the Dark Alchemy solo campaign, and maybe a couple of new things. The Arcane Locations and Ravages of Time. I don't recall those in PDF. But anyway, that was the main thrust of it. Then I got a sprue of 5 barbarians was tossed in as a bonus. It was like a stretch goal because a certain number of people ordered. And then I just picked up a few minis. What are these? This is some sort of monster. And this is a couple of altered sculpts for wizards. And here we have a couple of other monsters. And some sort of cultist with a big fur cloak. I'm not sure exactly why I picked up these minis. It was probably they were on offer cheap or something. Anyway, I'm not currently painting stuff for Frostgrave, so this will go into a back drawer and might get pulled out sometime years in the future. But I have it anyway. Anyway, so that was this week's episode. We have entered a new month and looking forward to a lot of new painting. I hope you enjoyed watching. As always, click like and subscribe. Join me next week. Until then, I'm Doc Eon, and I'm signing off.